How are we doing? We well, yeah?
Right.
Suzanne, how are you?
Liam, pleasure to meet you as always.
Thanks for everybody coming tonight. Really appreciate it. So welcome to YENA, Young Entrepreneurial Network Association. And as an entrepreneur myself, I love these events, happy to host, happy to get involved, and happy to see you guys here. So I would like to start off with a round of applause for yourself for turning up. Because the reason is networking is so important. The last time we were here, it was last month, and it was a great event. Hosted a really good guy and spoke to a lot of great people, and it was just, for me now as I'm growing through my business, I'll tell you what I do in a minute, it was a reminder for me, because I hadn't been to a networking event for a long time, and it's a reminder to constantly persist with it, never and always do it if you can. Twice a month, 3 times a month, it's such an important thing. Even just get the energy off other people, that's what's important, because entrepreneurship is very lonely. So today, I'm your host, Liam Joe Blackwood, and I am the founder of Stressbox. And Stressbox is a new mental well-being spiritual fitness class which combines boxing, mindfulness, meditation, great music, life coaching, and awesome people, whoever I get to coach. And it's all about stress, it's all about controlling stress, understanding stress, and then releasing stress so that we can grow through ourselves towards happiness, success, and whatever that means to you. And I've been working on it for 3 years. Today's a great day. I've been telling a few people about it, and today I got my place in Birmingham University in their offices. So
round of applause.
Thank you very much. It's been a tough journey, but it's been also very, very easy, because I love what I do. So sometimes it just happens like that, and just the next minute, like 6 weeks ago, I had no idea that they did this thing, and then 6 weeks later, I'm in an office in there. So it just happened. So optimism is the key. So enough about me. Today we have Susanne. She's a great person. I've met her a good couple of months ago now. We've had great conversations. She's an inspirational kind of person. She is very hardworking, and I'm going to leave it over to you to explain what you do and how you do it and why.
Well, thank you, Liam. It's been a pleasure, obviously, to spend a lot of time with you. I think me and Liam, we share definitely passion towards our business, and I think if anything, that's what you probably would like to start off with, is have some kind of real big reason for why you want to start a business, why you want to be an entrepreneur. Even if you don't have a business yet, what I'd like you to actually do, just really quickly, for about 20 seconds, just to introduce yourself to the person next to you, and just tell them your name and why is it that you'd like to have a business. So, just
go.
Right. So, great, thank you. I know we could probably carry on talking about our business for a long time. I think this is a really important thing, because like Liam said, it's actually really a great thing that you're here today, because there's so many times people book tickets to events and don't come. You probably were in 2 minds today as well. You know, it's should I go? I've got loads of other things to do, but you're here, so really give credit to yourself, because that shows that you're already different from most of other people, because it's often about half or a third come to the events. So really give yourself some credit. It shows that you're a different kind of leader as it is. And especially as entrepreneurs, we are types of leaders, aren't we? Because you are giving some kind of message. But just quickly what Liam said, just to tell you a little bit about my background. So as you know, my name is Susanne. And if anybody's wondering where the accent is from,
Guess.
Close, very close. Little bit to the right. Finland, that's it. So I'm from Finland. I've been living abroad for about 10 years now. I love a bit of adventure. I've lived in loads of different countries and ended up here in a positive way. Birmingham's great. The more time I've spent here, the more I love it. But just to start a little bit about my journey before I go and talk about what kind of training consultancy I have, is that when I've been working for different people, and I think especially I've been working as a trainer within training and education for quite a long time, Sometimes it takes a bit of time for you to find something that you really like. I mean, I had to go through about 30 to 40 different jobs to actually realize what is it that I'm passionate about. Who here is still employed for somebody else? Yep, some. And who has their own business already up and running? Okay, brilliant. So quite a few. Who has their own business as well as work for somebody else? Okay, yes, that's quite a lot of hard work, isn't it? But especially when you find something that you're really passionate about, I think that is where it starts from. And I gotta say that it hasn't been necessarily the easiest journey. I worked within hospitality for quite a long time, so I've always been a really positive person, and I think that's where you always learn to smile whatever happens, I suppose, when you work in hospitality, whatever challenging situations you've got. So that's definitely something that I got from working in 15 years in that industry. I started then training and managing staff, and I realized that I've got a lot of passion towards seeing other people succeed and develop, and it gives me a lot of satisfaction. I think most of us share that same thing, is that when you actually help someone and see that your advice or your encouragement or support, it's worked and they thank you, it feels pretty good. And I've always taken that really seriously. So I realized that when I was especially in my last job, when I was still employed for someone else, I felt like I was doing a lot of the job myself. I think a lot of us feel that way, that I feel like I'm doing 95 to 98% of the job. And then you come to think, I think I could actually do this myself as well. And I think I'd made a really spontaneous move, and I just started the business, basically quit quite quickly. I think that might have been a slightly maybe naive move, because I said, I'm doing all this work anyway, it can't be that hard. And I can bring that money to myself because I'm in control of these customers.
Can I stop you there?
Yeah.
How were you feeling at that moment? Because I think it's such an important decision to make, even though you've got work and even though you don't know what it is, what you're doing. Like what was it? Was there a specific moment where it was just like, oh, this has to happen now? Like, I've been thinking about it for a few months or a few weeks or whatever, a year. What was it that made you just kind of just take the leap?
That's a brilliant question. I think I'm not sure if there was a very specific moment in time. I think I grew to it. I think I grew in a way that I started to feel like I started to look at every day like a bit of an adventure. I think every day is a big learning curve. Even if you work for someone or do something that you're not necessarily too passionate about, I think every day you can learn something. And every day you can learn things that are transferable to your business as well, especially when it comes to customer service. I think I was so passionate about customer service, and actually there was quite an interesting comment that my manager made. She said, brilliant manager, but she said, you spend too much time with your customers, you put too much effort, and it has an impact on your work-life balance. But then when we don't do that, then we get a telling off as well sometimes, don't we? So I think I was in between and thinking, I've got so much passion towards what I do that I should channel that passion somehow. And I really make it a big deal, because every feedback that a customer gave me, or every good thing that I saw, what happened, for example, with the students and with the managers that I was coaching, I took it really to heart, and especially the thank yous. If you get that positive feedback, then that shows that you're making a really positive difference. And I think if anything, most of the time as entrepreneurs anyway, your business is about providing some kind of solution to a customer. And however small your actions sometimes are, if you can see that you've made a really positive impact on someone, take it really seriously. Give yourself a pat on the back and, be proud of it. I think a lot of the time we tend to self-sabotage a lot, and we focus on what we're not good at. What about the things that we are good at? Like I was saying to Liam earlier, you can't imagine how many times I've been told in my lifetime that I talk too much. I even said to Liam before we started, can you make sure you control, because I'll carry on forever and I don't want to do that to you. But the thing is that sometimes that so-called weakness could actually be your strength. And at the end of the day, I've been earning my living and my wage, even working for someone else, just through talking. So as a teacher, as an educator for some time.
On that note, I would like a little exercise, just an interval exercise for you guys, and to take what Susan's saying and think about what people say to you is your weakness, and think about whether it's your strength. So to take 30 seconds to a minute just to reflect on yourself, and think of a weakness or a so-called weakness that people say, you're too much like this, or you do too much of this, or God, you're annoying in some way. But think, is it a positive?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Love. Hey. Hi. Hello. All right. That's enough.
No self-sabotage, you know.
Okay. Talking about our problems too much now.
Yeah. Well, Liam just said that I do a lot, that you do a lot of stuff all the time, and bad memory. And sometimes, because I am definitely, that's one of the reasons why I had 40 different jobs, is because I get bored very easy, and I have like attention span of a dog. I don't know if you can say that, but it's like squirrel syndrome, isn't it? It's like constantly new project, new shiny things. And I think as entrepreneurs, that is actually a good thing. It can become a disadvantage because you might not finish all the projects that you start. You start a million things and don't quite finish any of them. But actually, as entrepreneurs, we need to be very action-oriented people. So, if you are capable and then you're creative, I think that's one of the most important things, is creativity. In your business. You can be as creative as you want. The thing is, it's quite scary to think about a business, but it's also really empowering, because what I did with my business, for example, and a lot of people, and I'm sure you've come across this, I don't know, but they say, oh, that's never gonna work. Or I asked my mum for some feedback on my website. Is my mum really the best person to give me that feedback? No, not really. She has no idea about running a business, but sometimes we want that recognition from our family.
Yeah, use that as leverage. Personally, I ask people for advice, knowing what they're going to say, and just kind of like, okay, I'll do what I do, and just kind of get their feedback, and it's the opposite to mine, and it's like, as you were.
Yeah.
But it just works like that for me. Like I need that. Yeah, I can get it out. Absolutely. I can get it out, which helps, and then it also kind of tells them what I'm doing. I think as entrepreneurs as well, one of my mistakes over the years is not telling enough of what I do, because it's hard to explain because it's not done. Releasing stress through fitness, through music, through meditation, and I think telling your siblings and to get over stuff like that with your parents, it's because man, if I could take it back, I'd like to avoid a lot more stress than I had. But I'd tell them from the start. I'd tell them what my vision is, what the plan is, and sit down with them and have this real honest conversation, because I think as human beings we're not so common sense orientated, so we're just kind of all in our world. And even though he's going to be an entrepreneur, he wants to make money, he wants to do this, do flyers and stuff and stuff like that. But tell them why. Sit down to people and tell them why, and then in the end they can be your cheerleaders. So.
And to an extent, that questioning is actually good. Don't take objections badly. The thing is, there's going to be so many people, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but so many people who are going to question what you do, and sometimes you'll question every day, why am I doing this? You get so lost in translation, and you've got like million things on your to-do list, and you get lost of what is it that you're actually going to achieve. So that's why I'd suggest, especially whatever you do in your business, whatever business you have, whatever kind of person you are, even if you hate writing, I come across a lot of people like that, please write down what it is that you want to achieve. Not just in like 10 years time or 5 years time, not this boring interview question, but actually, something that comes truly from you. Don't think about anything that your mom or dad has said to you, and in no disrespect to your mom and dad, but sometimes our parents want us to go a certain direction. And I can guarantee that my mom and dad, they want the best for me. I'm sure yours too. And that's why they doubt, and that's why they question. But they don't always understand what you want and what your vision is. So don't take it personally when they question you, but actually some things are okay to keep to yourself, and actually find people who are positive and encouraging in your life, not the ones that are negative and questioning. Because I have a lot of quotes that I often use, and one of them is, who you spend time with is who you become. Really, the people around you have a huge impact on you, whether you acknowledge that or not. Even my partner, and I love him to bits, and he's fantastic, and a lot of my friends, sometimes I say, I can't be bothered to do this today, which doesn't happen very often because I'm very determined, but we all get those days. And then they say, oh, don't do it then. It doesn't matter, do it later. No, you know what? Actually, sometimes the more people tell me that you can't do it, the more people object me, the more I actually want to do it, because I want to prove them wrong. And I think that's sometimes a good way to approach a business as well. Prove your friends and family wrong who have been questioning you. Definitely. And again, they're not questioning you or giving the objections because they don't think your business idea is good. They just might not quite understand. But having a really clear plan and writing down what is it that you want to achieve, and actually going as far as writing down what your financial targets are. If you want to earn 2K a month, let's say, really go and break it down into the nitty-gritty of what do I get per customer? How much do I get when I sell one of these products or one of your courses? How many courses do I need to sell a month? And actually, once you start doing that and you work backwards to even the 20, 30-minute tasks, because what happens is once you've broken it down like that, it becomes so much more practical. When you try and keep everything in your head, what happens is what you try and solve is stress. So you wouldn't have business if yeah, absolutely. The thing is it has a lot of power when you write things down. And actually, when you write it down, you think, is that it? Is that all the problems I actually did have?
On that note, Jim Carrey, and again, he's not an entrepreneur, he's just a creative guy who wants to do what he wants to do. His love was acting, and his dad was an actor, and his dad didn't believe that he could be an actor, so he stayed as a financial banker, and he passed away being miserable. So Jim Carrey, he took note of that and wanted to do the same thing, but believed it. So when he was broke and poor, he wrote a check for £10 million, and he was driving this run-down car, and he would just visualise and imagine that it was a Mercedes or a soft top. And then I think 10 years later to the day, or around the same time, he got paid £10 million for Dumb and Dumber. So it's kind of creating that trust, and that's what I always think it is. It's not kind of like over forecasting, or it's a trust within yourself. It's that no one else is involved. It's just how do you feel when you're writing? If you feel weird writing it, then there's a trust issue. So then you can start acknowledging it and start working towards it. If there's no issue, then I'm sure you're on the right path. And then, but just obviously be accountable for all that as well. So back to yourself. How are you now as an entrepreneur? So, how long has it took you to be where you are, as in a comfortable financial position, and to be here with us today? How long does that take? How long has the journey taken you, and what could you share from that, for people who are trying to, or who are in the middle of the journey, so maybe 2 years? Good
that you changed that, because one of the words that I'd like you to change, and a lot about what I talk about, is your language. It's really important what language you use. If you say, I'm trying to set a business, I'm trying to sell, you're not trying, you are selling, you are doing it. I'm not, it was good that you say that, because I wouldn't have grasped on that otherwise. A lot of the time we say, I'll try and do it. Try should be removed from your vocabulary completely. You just do it. Don't question it. Don't think that you're going to fail. You might have problems along the way, which surely we will all have a lot, and we all will have. And if anything, especially as entrepreneurs, you do a lot more than some others. So isn't it that the more you do, the more challenges you'll face? The people who booked the ticket today, they chose not to come for several reasons. But a lot of the time, the reason why people don't come to events is self-doubt. It's the doubting of what I'm going to say, what are people going to ask me, I don't know how to explain it, I'm not sure what to do. And especially what you asked is I had no clue what I was doing in the beginning. I just knew that I really want to help people, and I'm so happy when I see people progress. And I'm actually, to an extent, very persistent person. Another weakness that people have said, you know, oh, you never give up, do you? No, I don't. And actually, as a teacher and as a coach and as a mentor, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Whenever the person says whatever objection you get, I'm not going to give up because I know it's for their benefit. You don't go to gym and get a personal trainer because they go, oh, I don't feel like it. Oh, all right, don't worry about it then, you know, just go home and we'll see tomorrow. They would never say that. You know, they push you because they know that it's a benefit for you. But sometimes you gotta have to coach yourself. And what happened is, how I started my journey is I did a hell of a lot of training. And I want to say one of the key things, whatever business again you have, whatever you do, don't ever underestimate how important knowledge is and how important training and self-development is. Because as long as you're not expanding your mind, as long as you're not increasing your knowledge, then you're going to do things the same way. So as long as you do things the same way, you're always going to get the same result. Exactly. But I got to say, and not everybody always likes that, and sometimes I actually start a lot of my training sessions, you're not going to like what I'm about to say, and I'm okay with that. Somebody's going to sometimes bring out some truths about yourself because I had to. What I did is I was very passionate about training and development for myself and for others. But what then happened is I wanted to do everything myself. It's all my way. And actually, you know, people came on my way, you know, my manager questioned me, my partner, my mom, and whoever, they questioned me, everybody's standing on my way. You know, what's the matter with them? Why can't I just do this? And what's the matter with me when I'm not getting a result? And actually, why am I not making any sales? Why am I not making any money? Well, I didn't have a business account, so I wasn't ready for the money, right? How can I make sales if I wasn't selling? Some people say, especially talking a lot of different places these days, again, leverage your weakness, become a speaker if you talk a lot. But it's that I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, or and often what I say is actually when you say I can't, you should replace that word with I won't. What's the difference there? It's changed to a matter of choice. You can do whatever you want. You can have almost, I hope it's ethical, but almost pretty much any kind of business you want. Now, I work with people with criminal record, and I help them start their business, males in particular. You can imagine how much resistance there is and how much authority issues there are sometimes. But you know what? I am really passionate about helping people start their business, and I've helped a lot of these guys develop their own business. And actually, if you're really passionate about what you do, even if there is resistance, even if you've got objections, you know, again, it's for the best, it's for their benefits, it's for solving their problem, it's for improving their quality of life. Again, that should be for each business, shouldn't it? Whatever business you have, whatever product or service you have, it's for solving somebody's problems. That's how you should look at it. A lot of the time when we come to these networking events, we really want to share about our business, and it's really important, but we end up just talking about ourselves, what I do, and me. Well, fair enough, I'm doing that a lot now. I'm a bit of a hypocrite there.
That's why you're here, though. That's why you're here.
But actually,
give you a free pass.
Yeah, thank you. But when you're in a selling situation, when you're trying to when you're making a sale, when you're having a conversation with a potential customer, focus on their problem. How many times have you spoken to a salesperson who just talks about the benefits and advantages of their product, and you're like, yeah, I kind of need it, but not really. You gotta have to try and really refer to their emotions, understand what they're going through, and sometimes you just gotta ask a lot of questions about them, and they'll remember you forever because you've listened to them.
Yeah, I think this boils down to kind of like a value of empathy. From my perspective, a holistic health coach. When I go into wherever I need to go to help people with stress, one of the most valuable things that I teach is empathy. And if you can understand your customer's empathy, or even don't even mind about business, like do you like in terms of the homeless guy out there or the person of your family who's probably got exams, like if you can increase your empathy, that'll go back into your business, which is lovely, because it's just like it's an untrained source that you don't have to pay for the course for or something like that. So it's like self-development within, but it's a harder choice, isn't it? So it's something to take. So we're going to round this up. Thought that was amazing. I thought that was absolutely fascinating. I wish I had my notepad with me instead of this drink, so I could take some notes. But I'd love to give it back to you guys. And if you have any questions, because she is a very, very powerful motivator, then please dig deep. Take a moment to dig deep on some questions, because she's got some good knowledge here, man.
You said that you lived in obviously multiple different countries. Is this the only country that you set this up, or is this something that you got from somewhere else?
Great question. No, I actually set it up in here. Interesting that you asked that question, because I love adventure, and that's one of the things that, again, as an entrepreneur, it's good to have if you're a bit adventurous, because there's a lot of uncertainty ahead of you. So I realized that I was a very much of an adventurer, moving from one country to the next and having lots of these different jobs. But actually, and I'm big on self-analysis, and if you want to know more, just come and have a chat with me afterwards. But I had to do a bit of soul searching, and I think we all need to do a lot of this, especially as entrepreneurs. Is that I started questioning, why was I moving around so much? Why was I always so eager to start everything from the beginning? And actually what I realized is I was always somehow dependent on my environment. I was always somehow dependent on what other people tell me, how other people approach me, what opportunities they give me. And I then wanted to start from the beginning when things got a bit tough, when things got a bit serious. I moved to the next country and to the next school and to the next job and to the next relationship, all sorts. And I realized that although I loved change, but that I was really not doing, that wasn't benefiting me in any way. And I realized that really when I have, and this is a country where I spent most of my time in, and I love it here, but I didn't love it in the beginning. I mean, I've lived in Paris, Madrid, and London, and Amsterdam, and then Birmingham. No disrespect. Birmingham's great, and it's become a lot better. However, not necessarily as pretty as some of the areas.
Thinking about Paris right now.
and I would often depend on the environment or how negative the other people were. And that's not the way to be. And in the beginning when I was here, I was quite unhappy and I felt really stuck in my career. I wasn't progressing, I wasn't doing this and that. When I realized, and I was close to losing actually something really important in my life. I was close to losing somebody really important, because it was all about me, and not realizing that it wasn't my environment that had to change. It wasn't always looking for something different, or it's always grass is greener here and blah, 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 and it's never good enough. It's really what you gotta change, and really where it comes from is from you. And there's a saying to this, it says that people live their lives in quiet desperation. So people live their lives in quiet desperation. And when I've been working within offender learning, people with criminal background, you can imagine what kind of negativity I come across. But actually, there's no different who I work with in there than sometimes with people elsewhere, in sort of normal life. It's a lot of the time where people are quite unhappy. But to answer your question, is that it's comes from you, is that change comes from you. So I realized it wasn't about my environment, it wasn't about Birmingham, it wasn't about England or whatever I was blaming. Always somebody else or something else. It was me who had to change. And what really had to change is what I do every day. What I do every day is what matters the most. And that's what will bring you that satisfaction and rewarding job, when you do something that really matters to you.
Do you feel like you can set up a business without finding your purpose first?
Without finding?
Your purpose first.
Yes, I think you can. I think you can. That's a really good question.
I think your purpose, you can't.
I appreciate that our purpose isn't just summarised by a job title, but in regards to actually putting your heart and soul in passion.
I don't think you don't search for a purpose. I don't think you should search for a purpose. Your purpose search for you, so you earn that purpose. I didn't know I was going to be working within the stress fitness environment until it came to me at my work, and then I realised that I wasn't equipped to have the mental, emotional, spiritual tools to fight against it. So then I dived deep into meditation, and then realised it was magical, pushed worry out my head, and brought creativity and happiness to me. And then I started creating stress parks, and then boom, and now I'm here. I'm at the Birmingham University 3 years on. So it's like I did not search for a purpose. I've been gifted a purpose, and I think that's
the question was, would you recommend somebody setting up a business without finding that purpose? Because you
without it, definitely, without a doubt, because you'll find the purpose along the way, and that's the journey. You will find it.
And that's a brilliant question. And just quickly on that, because I had a couple of customers, especially when you're working on it's a service-based business. You all got different types of businesses, and especially when it's a service that you're providing, most of you are. You don't always realize who your ideal customer is, or what is it that you're actually doing. You just know you've got the direction, you've got the determination and the passion and the skills, and you start it anyway. I did. So definitely start it, because if you wait until it's perfect, when are you going to start? Never. It's never going to be perfect. You always have to keep improving. Some people are perfectionists.
Yeah, the engineers from Jaguar would never let them out if it wasn't for the business at the side of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They'd never let them out. They'd want the perfection every time. They have to get pushed because targets and the other side of the business, you know, and it's the same thing with us.
And I only started working with people with criminal record or from other disadvantaged background after I had started my business. And that has become a true passion of mine. It doesn't matter whether you've got a criminal record or not. What I really deal with, and what is by far the biggest challenge in your business, is your mindset. Because your worst enemy lies between your ears, for sure. It doesn't matter who comes on your way, who says what. It's you. You make the decision whether you should believe them or not. We were just talking about how we both had a bit of a breakthrough, and we were talking about that a couple of months ago, you know, we really need to get this deal. And the people said no, and there's been so many objections on the way. And even one of the people that I talked to, the highest manager that I've tried to persist this project with, she said no, and I just said, I think we should do it anyway. Come on, just give me a chance. And she's like, oh, you're really not going to give up, are you? No, because I know it's for such an important purpose. The business was falling apart, so you're there for the good message. You're there to provide a solution. They question you, but you gotta persist because you know it's for the best. And I got in, and I don't want to, flatter myself or anything, but the feedback was pretty good. I've worked on it for such a long time, and you know what? I have visualized it. That's what you gotta do. Visualize what it is that you want. It doesn't matter what problems come on the way, because failure, there's no such thing as failure. It's just a part of the process or progress. You've got to have to look at it as a learning curve.
Embrace failure. It's
Absolutely.
a great tactic. Embrace failure and just learn through it, and it's going to be your teacher, and you get more comfortable with it.
Exactly.
On that note,
so I just wanted to say, he asked you a question earlier. I really would like you to answer that. How long did it take you from initially having this idea to where you are today?
Great. So it was about 3 years ago. I've always known that I wanted to start a business because I don't like being told what to do. I think we can all relate to that to an extent. I don't think anybody likes to be told what to do. So it was about 3 years ago. And I was doing a lot of project management work, so I was responsible for my own stuff, and I realized that I really have so much passion towards this. It was in a management training position. Then I started pursuing, and I did a lot of training, and especially if you've got a job alongside, you just gotta persist. You've gotta have the long nights, you've gotta have the studies, you've gotta have to push yourself and challenge yourself to learn alongside of your work. And then gradually I became part-time, and then that sunny day, thank you very much, I'm gone. That brings you such satisfaction, but that was about 3 years ago.
And how long did it take you to actually be earning enough money for you to be, you know what, I can quit this job and I can be self-employed? How long did that journey take?
Good question. So I think I was part-time for about 6 months, approximately 6 months, and gradually I built a customer base to cover that amount of money. And I gotta say, some people, because how I was trained, and I was trained to be a coach by a great organization, some people just quit without having any customers, which is real danger. Get a customer first, practice a little bit. I don't want that to sound bad, you know, I don't want you to disadvantage the person, but maybe offer a free service or something and learn from it. And I gotta say, that was a real disaster, my first customer. And some people said, are you gonna quit? No, I learned from it. So just persist. It was about a few months and then it happened.
On that note, I'd just like to add, if you've got passion for something, you got to do it for free, man. R. Kelly was like he was homeless on a beach for 5 years before he got famous. And look at him now. Like, if you're passionate about something, you've got to do it for free because it's a pleasure, right? You know, if you like to, I mean, if you smoke cigarettes, it's something that you like to do. You do it and you pay for it. It's free. So it's kind of like you're up, you're not down, are you? So you look at it that way. You do stuff for free, it will come back to you. And it's okay to charge for helping people then eventually as well. Some people go along with charging very little for a very long time and make absolutely no money. You don't want to start a business and work twice the hours than you did for somebody else and get half the money and have real struggle, because you know that you're providing, hopefully anyway, a real value service, and you know that your heart is in the right place. So just practice perhaps with a customer, learn from it, really reflect, collect a lot of feedback and do loads and loads of market research. Go around to any networking event you can, ask, just listen. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, that's why we should listen. I should probably take that hint myself, but should listen twice as much as you talk to learn as much as possible. Cool. Guys, I hope you enjoyed. Go ahead. Thanks. I've got some, just quickly, I would love to, if you want to get some more information about some of the training that I do, it's particularly about strategic planning in your business, particularly about stress management, and also about marketing strategy and customer acquisition. So there's a lot of stuff that I do online that you can literally learn from home. To make it as easy as possible, because it's one of the projects that I'm involved in, and actually we're going to do something on that in the future, I think. Just come and see me afterwards. I'll grab your email address, and if anybody's interested in some more detail, just come and speak to me afterwards. But really brilliant job that you're all here, because it again shows that you are very different from the rest of the people. So give yourself a bit of credit for being here today. So thanks for you.